It's good to be with you this morning. When David called me and said that he was going to be out of town and he would like me to fill in for him and talk about High Plains Children's Home, I said without a hesitation I would love to be there. So many of you are already involved with High Plains and have been for years. And so hopefully we'll be able to connect a lot of the dots this morning as we go through this little process, and it'll be fun for you. Mike, do we sound okay back there? Are we good? I don't want to speak for 2.5 hours and they can't hear me. Are we good? All right. You know, DL, when we read in Romans chapter 8, one of the highlights of Romans 8 is all things work together for good to those that love the Lord. And regardless of which translation you read that out of, that's what it means. And what High Plains Children's Home does for us, and what all these faces are going to do for you, and what these young men down here do for you, it puts a face on what that scripture means. All things work together for good to those that love the Lord. That's Ashton. Remember Ashton's name? That's Michaela right there. Can you believe we've taken care of over 3,000 boys and girls since 1967? 3,000 boys and girls, and that means you've taken care of them. Kids from first grade through seniors in high school, boys and girls, kids that have gone on to be successful, be in college. We're always in need of a good dentist, so if you have one, send them our way. Look at there. There's old Chol. Old Chol's on the ski lift up at Red River. Chol, are you here this morning? I think I saw some of them. Where you at, Chol? There you go. All right, how about that? You didn't know I was going to throw that up there, did you? Huh? That'll work, won't it? Our facilities up at the home include 100 acres on the main campus, and if you haven't been out to the home to see what we do, it's fairly impressive. And what I say by that, the Lord has made it impressive. The guys at High Plains hired me nearly 25 years ago to run the home. I started out in marketing and became the executive director, and so this year will be 25 years that I've been with the home. And we've been able to see a lot of the blessings that have come through this organization. And as I look through here, I see people who have donated cars, people who've donated beef to what we do, sent memorial gifts, helped us build cottages. Well, looky there. There's old Zach. Now, Zach, that was his promotion in 2012 at Gene Howe Elementary School. And we'll say another little thing or two about Zach as we go along. Corn on the cob. That corn on the cob comes straight out of the field from Lasbuddy, Texas. And one of the things that we try and do at High Plains is we try and change the dynamic of how these kids grow up. Because if I sat here this morning and I revealed to you all of those things and all of the stories behind these faces, you and I would just sit here and cry for the rest of the day. And we don't have time to do that. We got to get up and get out of the ditch and let these kids be raised just as any, quote, normal kid would, and have the opportunities that they do. So if we can bring them corn on the cob fresh out of the patch in Lasbuddy, Texas, Tom, we're going to do it. Hot Air Balloon Festival. We host a hot air balloon festival each year, and some of you have been out there to see these balloons take off. And if you can imagine having 1,000 visitors come out to High Plains Children's Home that are not necessarily church people. I have always said that High Plains is as much a mission field as it is a benevolent work, simply because there are those individuals in Canyon that will not come through those church doors back there for whatever reason, but they will come to High Plains Children's Home and see why we take care of these kids. And the first question they ask is, why do you Church of Christ people do this? And so if you can bring 1,000 people out for a hot air balloon festival, you've got the exposure for that first question to be asked. Isn't that gorgeous? That's not in Albuquerque. That's between here and Amarillo. If you leave the parking lot right out here in front and you drive to the front porch of my office at High Plains Children's Home, it's 11 miles. 11 miles to see that. You don't have to have a passport, you don't have to get your shots, and you don't have to go through airport security. Now, I'm kind of embarrassed, guys. Calvin, I'm embarrassed to show this. Do I need to retract this? Okay, there's no endorsements for this anymore. They just happen to have the uniforms. So, those are my acts, guys. You see that old Jeep? That's a 1947 Jeep Willys. I've got a doctor in Amarillo, a big orthopedic surgeon, one of the best orthopedic surgeons in the entire world. People come from all over the country to see him. So he thought it'd be great if he and his son got this old 1947 Jeep Willys and they would restore it and get it running. Well, DL, he may be the best bone surgeon in the world, but he couldn't find the carburetor on that Jeep. So he gave it to us, and we piled all the kids in it, and we've had more fun with that old Jeep. Holidays, we love for the kids to experience the holidays like you and I do. Does it tax our budget? Sure. You know, we don't have to do that, but it's the reason we can do it is because you help us get it done. Look at those tennis shoes. You remember that old show, My Three Sons? Remember that? Remember when My Three Sons, some of you are way too young for this. You older guys will know it. Remember when it opened up at the very front, how that ankle tennis shoes. We've got a fella and his wife in Plainview, Texas, of all places. When school starts every year, he wants all of our kids to have a brand new pair of tennis shoes. And so that's all about the tennis shoes. Now look at there. All right, Joel, stand up, man. Come on, buddy. Calvin, stand up. All right. They clean up pretty good, don't they? We've got a fella who, that's good, guys, that's good. We've got a guy that lives out by the children's home, and he watches these Joseph A. Bank commercials. And every time they come on and say, buy one suit, get 3 free, he loads us up. And so the guys clean up pretty good. Jacob, where are you at? I left Jacob at. Jacob, are you here? Is he not here this morning? Anyway, so, you have to pay $1,000 for the one suit. But you sure get the other one. So the guys clean up pretty good. Christmas is always a special time at High Plains Children's Home. And this year, the Littlefield Christmas Party, as we call it, the Littlefield family, not Littlefield, Texas, you guys let us host it back here in your fellowship hall. And that is one of the highlights of our year is the Christmas party. David Wiggins, he works tirelessly for the Christmas presents that you guys donate to these kids, and they will tell you firsthand that it is first class. And so, David, we appreciate your work, and I know you don't want me talking about you, and Wade and Linda, I know you don't want me talking about you, but we appreciate what you do for us, and it's so important to these kids. Some more of our girls here in front of their Christmas tree, making a snowman. Man, this winter's been tough so far, but we were able to buy us a new John Deere 5100E tractor. The first tractor we've ever had at High Plains with a cab with a heater. And so my maintenance man's loving it, and we bought him a big snowplow blade. And these guys are good snow shovelers, but Seth, a little help from a John Deere tractor works, doesn't it? Look at there. Santa Claus made his way through Amarillo here several years ago when they were bringing the big Christmas tree. Remember, they bring the big Christmas tree going to Washington, D.C., and they would come through Amarillo, and they'd bring it there. Panhandle Antique Tractor Association. These are those old guys, and I see you right there, that do these antique tractors and fix them up just like a Corvette club, and we host their annual show. Brethren, look at the exposure for good that brings people to the home just to see old tractors, and they ask that question, why do you guys do this? Okay, you see that? And we're able, through High Plains, to be able to open those doors that we may not get open here, and then we can hand them off to you. So antique tractor, I just love that. Look at there, Zach. Now see, that's an umbrella on another tractor behind him, but it looks like a cape. So he looks like Super Zach. Isn't that the funniest looking thing? And have you ever seen tires like that on a John Deere tractor? Sibling groups. We raise lots of brothers and sisters. Now, if I say, Byron, I need you to take a kid and be a foster dad for that kid, you may say, Craig, bring him on. But when I show up at your door, I said, oh, wait, I forgot to mention he's got 4 brothers and sisters. And all of a sudden, you're going to go, I can't do that. And so one of the strengths of High Plains is the ability to keep brothers and sisters together and let them grow up. And so you'll have Tristan, Charleston, Cameron, Shermonte, Latavia, and Odie. We raised those kids for 10 years. And some of you know those kids, and those are just delightful kids. Tristan is the oldest. He's going to WT right now. Tristan, when he was in high school, he was the 4th fastest kid in the state of Texas in the 400-meter relay. And so there's just lots of stories there. I got a text yesterday. The youngest one is Odie, 3rd from your right. When we got the Woods kids, Odie was in a car seat. He was 2 years old. I used to carry Odie around in a car seat, and there's heads nodding back here. They did too. I got a text yesterday. He's in what, junior high? And he's playing basketball, and he got his first dunk yesterday from right there. We always thought he was going to be the little one, but not the case. Now, the little girl, 3rd from the right, she doesn't fit with that bunch right there. But this time, every year, the Aggies for Christ come up from College Station, and they spend the next week with us. So they started rolling in last night, and they'll do volunteer projects and do devotionals, Bible studies, help our house parents and everything that they do. And so that girl is with the Aggies of Christ. And I tell you what, to be honest with you, I consider ourselves fortunate that the Aggies can find Amarillo on the map and make it up here. So we're just appreciative for what they do. 2 girls here that are sisters, Miriam and Mabindu. Miriam and Mabindu. Their nicknames are Boo and Three. Boo and Three. They started out in Sierra Leone, West Africa, 6 years old. And they've made it all the way through the system to the States and bounced from foster home to children's home to foster home. And they finally landed at High Plains Children's Home. And when they first got there, I went up to look at their bedroom just to see if they'd gotten checked in. And we have twin beds in the cottages, and I noticed the twin beds were pushed together. And I asked my house parents, I said, what's up with this? And they said, every place they've ever been, the only place that these girls felt secure was with each other. So they always slept together. And I said, well, leave it just like that. So a couple of weeks later, I came back, and the beds had been pushed apart. And for the first time in their lives, those 2 girls knew they were safe. Calvin, Stacy, Sarah. Calvin's right here, pretty good picture. You know, you show pretty good, you know it? Again, sibling groups that we're able to care for. And there's all the Bowl boys, B-O-L. Some of you know Tony and Chol and Zach, and that's their older brother, D. Charleston, that was one of the Woods kids. You'll notice on that football right there, Homecoming King 2012 at Randall High School. And so many times we think that the homecoming king is supposed to be the big jock and he's kind of the star of everything, and whether it's deserved or not, that young man right there deserved it. That is one quality young man, and if you don't know Charleston, you need to know him. Cottage vacations, that's another big thing that's important to us. That's up at Red River. Think about your memories growing up as a kid, regardless of what your childhood was like. Wipe out those memories of childhood vacations. If you didn't have them, part of your life is gone. And so it's important to us that these kids get to go on a vacation. There's Zach fishing. I don't know if he caught anything, Zach, but he's having a good time. Then they went and got him a little bit of ice cream. That's the Red River, Taos loop. There they are, the guys. Victor's their house dad down on the far left, and they're all there at the Taos Pueblo having a cottage vacation. And again, the only way we can do this is people help us get it done. There's Zach. I think that's down at Fiesta, Texas, Zach. Eating one of those big funnel cakes. Man, that's making me hungry. Big carousel down there. Now, before anybody gets too excited, Randall County Sheriff's Office. Okay, everybody settle down. One of the big things we do every year is summer camp. And our kids love to go to summer camp. And the Randall County Sheriff's Office takes 10 of our kids and fully funds, fully underwrites their camp out at Camp Don Harrington. So they get to go canoeing and rock climbing and air riflery and the whole thing. Camp Blue Haven. I'm still on the board of Camp Blue Haven. I've served on the board with Bob and with Jeff, and I'm on the executive committee for Blue Haven, and I'm a big proponent of summer Christian camping. It makes all the difference in the world, and many of you help us send our kids to camp. The kids learn how to do Bible studies and devos. My last news booklet that most of you get featured Seth right here on the front, but Tony, where's Tony? Is Tony here this morning? There's Tony. Send up, Tony. In our last news booklet, featured in one of the stories was Tony preaching on a rock in the forest of the mountains at Camp Blue Haven in the early morning devotional. Now, that trains him how to do the things that we talk about doing, and it does it in an atmosphere where it's fun, it's intrusive, and it makes it nice. Isn't that right, Tony? Thank you. Now, everybody always says, well, isn't that cute, the children's home kid getting baptized in the creek at Camp Blue Haven? No, that's our kid doing the baptizing. That's Dee Bowl. That's the older brother of the Bowl boys. Dee doesn't live with us anymore, but he's here. Alumni. We've got alumni all over the planet. That's Daniel Lucas right there on the right, and some of you will recognize that fellow beside him. When they went to the Olympics in basketball, one of the customs that they do is they bring military personnel in, and the military personnel take that American flag off of their shoulder and hand present it to one of those athletes that are going to the Olympics. Daniel Lucas, you raised at High Plains Children's Home, and that's where it ended up. Did anybody here ever think that we could get close to Kobe Bryant? Could we ever convert Kobe Bryant? Could we ever talk to him? Brethren, that may be what it takes to do it. You see how that works? And so anybody that wants to take on that project besides me, we will get that done. Now, Daniel, we provide our kids cars, and Daniel wrecked every car we gave him. So when he finished at High Plains Children's Home, he called me one day. He lived in D.L.'s brothers. You remember D.L.'s brother, Phil and Kim? Daniel was in their cottage. And they called me and they said, he's going into the Army. I said, Daniel, what are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to be a tank driver in Iraq. I said, they might as well give it up. We're not even going to have to fire a shot. Cecily's right there. Our news booklet that you get, the issue before last, Cecily was our senior this last year, and really one of our good gals. Dakota Brooks, you helped me raise Dakota. It's something to raise a kid successfully in a children's home, but when they want to go into the ministry, that's the cherry on top. So he's pointing at Port Elizabeth, South Africa right there, and he was in the AIM program at Sunset, spent 1.5 years in South Africa, came home and said, Craig, I know what I'm supposed to do. He was working with all those street kids in South Africa. He said, I'm supposed to be a youth minister / missionary. Can I come back and go to Sunset, become a youth minister, get trained in that for a number of years, and then go back to the mission field? What do I say? Well, the budget's kind of tight, Dakota. I don't know if we can do it. Yeah, we're going to make that happen. So that's one of yours. And I thought it was interesting. Those of you that go to the Red River Family Encampment every year, they asked Dakota to speak with me for 5 minutes. Well, they didn't want to hear me. They wanted to hear him. And so I gave him the pulpit. And the night before, Jim McGuigan was the guest speaker the night before. And Jim McGuigan is Dakota's hero. And for Dakota to be in the same pulpit with Jim McGuigan, that was like being there with Elvis. And so Dakota was just extremely pleased. Precious, some of you have known Precious through the years. Precious went to the Lake Cordon Bleu Cooking Institute and became a professional chef. She's down in Houston now. Automobiles, again, the reason I show that, we're always needing cars. Seth, stand up, man. Stand up. Okay, if you're ever going to get your chance, this is it, buddy, right here. Seth is getting his driver's license, so he needs his car, and I asked him, what's your favorite car? And he said a 99 Crown Vic. You remember that? So we're not real picky, okay? So I expect a 99 Crown Vic. Any particular color?
Any color.
Any color, sitting out in that parking lot. All right, we're working on it, all right? Pa and Megan's place at High Plains, we started this a number of years ago. All of us, if we climb up and shake our family tree, in there somewhere, we're going to have an adult with special needs. It's either our cousin, it's our brother, it's our kids. There are a number of people in this audience this morning that have adults with special needs that they're trying to figure out, what are we going to do? Mom and dad are going to get too old, they're too tired, they're too sick to take care of them. The siblings say, we love you, but you can't come live with us. So what are we going to do? There's Bethany, Josh. We started Pa and Megan's place at High Plains to take care of adults with special needs. And if you have not seen P&M, you need to come out and see it. We place 2 men or 2 women together, or a single man or a single woman. That's John Cartwright. John led singing for years at the Bell Avenue congregation in Amarillo. Sacked groceries at our last Albertsons at I-40 and Bell for 38 years. Pam Porter, y'all have connections to Pam, is here. That's where we're building John. There's John sitting out there. His primary caregiver was his mother, and she up and died, and off we go. Someplace they have to go. This is Sharon. Sharon works at the VA hospital there in the background. She's able to go out and clean the water fountains. There's some of the guys right there. There's Pam right in the middle, Mick. There you go. This is the Blanton Place for Encouragement. The Blanton Place for Encouragement is the activity center, 6,000 square feet, to be the activity center for these adults with special needs. And so they come in there for their birthdays and all of their parties, and we help them with their finances, their social life, movie night. The parents come in, the grandparents come in. This has guest quarters in that are available to you. We've hosted some of your guest speakers at university have stayed with us up there. The Buffs for Christ come up and use it. Kent comes and uses it for his interns when they come in to gather up. We've had Buffs for Christ parties. Hannah Fletcher, Hannah's brought her crew to do some of the Dave Ramsey financial planning stuff for what we've done. So the Blanton Place for Encouragement is available. James has been there. Civic clubs, RV clubs, family reunions, wedding rehearsal dinners, elders retreats, deacons meetings, ladies Bible classes. By the way, I need you to check the church's insurance policy for me. The ladies Bible class came up in the fall, and I'm missing a bunch of stuff. And so I need to know where to file that claim. These are the little houses right there, just gorgeous. They would be like anything built in the colonies in Amarillo. This is our brand new cottage, 9,300 square feet. This is going to be called the Mabel Christie Transitional Living Cottage, as this is going to be for our older kids that are transitioning out into adulthood, whether they're going to college, vocational training, the military. They will have their private bedroom, private bath, private closet. This is spectacular. Mabel Christie left the home about $750,000 in the late 70s. Most of it was in church loans and investment trust stock. And there was one little word, one little phrase in her will that said, if any of this is ever left when I go down the road, you could build a cottage with it. So we thought it was about time since 1980 to put Mabel Christie's name on a new cottage, and she would be delighted. There are so many ties to the university congregation at High Plains Children's Home. Elders that we used to have, John Williams and his wife Mally. This is the Williams Cottage provided by his son and and be granddaughter. The Williams Cottage is there. The Axe Cottage, and we'll see that here in just a second. You need to see our new sports complex. Take a look at this. Most of you have not seen it. We've just finished a brand new softball regulation field. These national champion girls at WT could call ACU and Lubbock Christian and Harding, and they could have a big tournament out there. It will seat 138 people in the bleachers in the shade. It has a concession stand, restrooms, beautiful landscaping. Victor and Lupe are house parents back here. And if Victor and Lupe have got a kid that they need to visit with, maybe we've had a bad day, they've got an environment now where they can go out there and sit and they can talk to these kids. Isn't that gorgeous? And everything hadn't even matured yet. Walking paths. It just gives us some serenity of things that we need for these individuals. Look at the water feature right there. See the water? Right there. And I'm telling you, if you're a house parent and these people need all the stress relief they can get, no offense, boys, but they need to be able to let their hair down and sit and just go read their Bible, okay? And so we've provided that place, and you need to come see it. Tim, bring the youth group out. Kent, bring the Buffs for Christ out. Use the ball field. It's all on the house. Everything we do at the home is courtesy of High Plains Children's Home. When you use that Blanton Center, the Blanton Place for Encouragement, it's on the house, courtesy of the home. So come use it. All right, anybody know what that is? There you go. All right. We have just completed an 18-hole disc golf course. And so Kent, Tim, bring them out. We'll have a disc golf tournament. Grab some of the kids, and we'll go play. And it's constantly under construction. I can't do all this stuff by myself. I've got an incredible staff that works with me to do it. And they are plugged into the university congregation. So you've got Tyson Kluge that runs my computer systems. You've got Samantha Henley, a CPA who does my books, as my controller. You've got Clint Townsley. I'm not sure what Clint does, but at least he shows up. I tell you what, Clint has made a tremendous impact on the boys at High Plains Children's Home. The guys are raising pigs right now, and so William, where you at? William, stand up. William, you and Calvin, stand up. Raise your hands up there. There you go. They've got pigs that they're going to show in the Randall County Livestock Show here pretty quick, and Clint's helping them do that. So thank you, Calvin. There's just lots of things that we do. This is the youth group from Lariat that came up and did volunteer projects. You see that old, I'm not sure what color that is, faded turquoise Packard there behind them. Dean Mitchell Jones, that used to be the Dean of Men at WT, there's the Jones Hall. That's his old Packard. He willed it to his grandson. His grandson got tired of paying all the rent on the storage. Said, Craig, can you use my granddad's old Packard? By the way, the Joneses have ties to this congregation, but that's another story. There's the Red River Family Encampment. We take the big cooker up there every year and smoke Polish sausage for about 1,500 individuals. Sister Axe, that's Louise Axe and little Zach. And we lost Louise about two summers ago at 101 years old. When she started planning the WP and Louise Axe cottage, she was 87. And she lasted till 101. And so there's just one more tie. SK and Johnny Hill, this is a little couple that came from Perryton and ended up in Amarillo several years ago. Finished out their ride, and they were good friends of the home. They didn't have much family, but they loved High Plains dearly. And the reason I show you this is I'm the executive director for High Plains Children's Home, but I'm also the president of what is known as High Plains Children's Home Foundation. And what that does, the foundation houses the assets of those things when people leave us the money. So people leave us in their will with equities and bonds, their houses, farms, ranches, oil and gas minerals, life insurance policy beneficiaries. Everything funnels into the foundation, and then we can actually kind of bank out of our foundation as we need that. And so as we move along, I want to introduce you to somebody else. Drew Perkins back here. Drew is our Director of Operations. Stand up there, Drew. And as we begin to move down the road, I will begin spending more of my time on the foundation, and Drew will help run the home on the home side. And so everybody's sitting out there going, well, Craig's been there 25 years. What happens if Craig drops dead tonight? What we call succession planning is well underway at High Plains, and so you can rest assured on that. And you need to meet Drew back there. The master plan, that's a master plan on paper, but I like to say the master plan. We don't make this up every day when we come to work and wonder what we're going to do, okay? It takes us $2.3 million a year to turn the key on this baby. So January 1st, the other day, I took a big eraser and erased the board and we start over, okay? But that's what we're funding. And so you have the children's home, you have Pa and Megan's place for adults with special needs, and then our final piece of the puzzle, or let's just say another piece of the puzzle, will be a retirement community. For all of those people that are not ready to go to assisted living or the nursing home, or for sure not going to go live with their kids, okay, they can come out to High Plains and live with us and help us take care of these kids. The Lord has blessed the home. I'm pleased to say the home operates 100% debt-free. 100% debt-free. And the only reason we can do that is because everybody does their part, working together for good to those that love the Lord. You see how it works? I haven't preached a sermon to you this morning, but I have. That's what it's all about. That's what it's about. One fella asked me when I walked in this morning, am I going to step on your toes? Well, maybe I did, but hopefully not too hard. That's what it's all about. So I want you to come see us. You can look up on the web at hpch.org. But I want you to come out and see me. I want you to make that 11-mile trip out to the home. 11 miles is all it takes. And you'll get the grand tour and you'll see what happens. And you'll get to look these guys in the face and learn what's going on in their life. So if you're here today and you wonder why we do what we do as these Church of Christ people, it's because of these kids and the love that we have for them, because we know our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, expects us to do that. He doesn't browbeat us. He doesn't force us to do it. He just asks us to do it because of what He did for us. And so that invitation is always available for whoever wants to become a part of that. And it's not becoming a part of this body just so you can be perfect, because everybody in here will tell you we are not perfect. But it gets you introduced to His blood. I was baptized in that baptistry right there, and you can be too. But you got to get in contact with Jesus so that you know how this operates. There's a lot of good people in the world that say, I don't need Jesus, I don't need Christianity. I can take care of those kids without being a Christian. And yeah, they can, but they're going to miss it, and they're going to miss it big. And so I need you to help encourage these people to become a part of Jesus Christ and what He means to us. So if you're here and you need something this morning, we'd invite you during this invitation. I talked to a fellow this morning that said he's not a people person and he doesn't like getting real close to people. He'd rather stand 4 foot from you, DL. If that's not your thing to come down here, that's okay. But get with somebody soon. Don't wait too long, and find out what we do. So let's stand and sing this morning.